Hello students, I am Raman Arora from SI International. My dear students, we are doing economics of class 12 and in that we are doing chapter money. In the last class we have seen forms of money and today we will be talking about supply of money. Okay dear students, whenever we talk about supply of money, first thing you should remember is it is a stock concept. Whenever I talk to you stock concept or flow concept, I hope that you go to the chapter national income and there we have done the difference between the stock and the flow. So the stock was a quantity measured at a point of time. On the other hand, flow was the quantity measured over a period of time. My dear students, 90% of the student thinks that supply of money, here the word supply suggests that it is a flow, which is not at all. It is a stock concept and the reason is supply of money, if you are going to define, it is the amount of money which is in the hand of people at a point of time. They are saying that at a point of time, whatever money is there in the economy in the hand of people, emphasizing on that, in the hand of people will be considered as the supply of money. Why I am emphasizing in that? It does not include, it is not a part of definition, just I want to clear you people, it does not include, what it does not include is first, money held by the government, and the money with the commercial banks or with the banking system. Reason is very clear because these are the suppliers of money. These are the suppliers of money. You know very well by government, by the way of RBI. And when we talk about banking system, in the next chapter you will say commercial banks are also the supplier of money through credit creation. In the next chapter banking, you will realize it. And supplier of money, if someone asks you that what is the supply of money with you, then you will not be talking that what your father earns or what is the money your father have. You only tell that what is your pocket money or how much money you have at that point of time. Yes, therefore like that only, if someone asks you that what is the supply of money in the country, then we talk the money in the hand of people at a point of time, not money with the government or not money with the banking system. So please my dear students, be very clear about the definition of supply of money and remember that it is a stock concept. If I talk about in our curriculum, there is one method of measuring the money supply, but it could happen in the board exam they can ask you 4 methods of measuring the money supply. So we will not leave, in your books there is only one, but we will not leave any one of them. The first method is M1 method of money supply. Very simply I'll let you know and after that I'll tell you what is the difference between M1, M2, M3 and M4. When we move with the M1 method of money supply, my dear students, just remember 3 things: C plus DD plus OD. According to M1 method of money supply, you can make the language by yourself. According to the M1 method of money supply, we have currency, we have DD as demand deposits, that is checkable deposits with commercial banks where money can be withdrawn anytime through check. Where money can be withdrawn anytime through check. And the last we talk about is the OD. This also include reason being there money can be withdrawn like your loan account, like your saving account. You can withdraw your money any point of time. So therefore, this is also a part of money supply in the economy. In OD, we have three things. First is demand deposits with RBI of public financial institutions. You can take the example of NABARD, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development. You can also take here demand deposits with RBI of foreign central bank and foreign government. And the last, you can talk about demand deposits with RBI of foreign financial institutions like International Monetary Fund and WHO, World Health Organization. So basically, if someone asks you to calculate the money supply by M1 method, so you are supposed to take the three things, that is currency C, second is DD, demand deposit, which also I have explained very clearly, and the third one is other deposit. Let me clear other deposits also. Whatever demand deposits RBI have of NABARD, institute like IDBI, public financial institutions, any one of them. Whatever demand deposits RBI have of foreign central banks or foreign government, or any of the demand deposits with the RBI, if I talk about foreign financial institutions like IMF and World Health Organization. Fine, my dear students. Now, when we move from M1 to M2, M2 to M3, and M3 to M4 measure of money supply, please keep it in mind one thing very clearly, that we are making the concept broader. M1 is the narrowest concept of money supply and M4 is the broadest concept of money supply. First thing is very clear. Like that, M1 is the most liquid definition of money and M4 is the least liquid definition of money. If you want to check the liquidity, then M1 has the most liquidity. This can be converted into liquid form. Liquid means cash form very easily. On the other hand, M4 is the least liquid form of money. So this is the difference which again you will not be getting in the books. That is the knowledge which I am sharing with you. You should have this because in the exams these things only separates you from the best. Okay. Moving ahead, when we move, this is the M1 method of money supply. Now suppose that I move with M2. Now M2 becomes very simple. What you are supposed to do, you are supposed to take first of all M1, and with M1 you will take deposits with post office saving account. So with M1 we add one more term, that is deposits with the post office saving account. Like that, suppose you are moving to the M3. Moving to the M3, again you will take the complete M1, but this time you will take only time deposits. So this is the way you calculate the money supply according to M3. I'm really sorry, the space is not there, so I need to rub this part only, but don't get confused. M1 is here also, C plus DD plus OD. I'm taking the space for making it out for M4. M4 means M3. M3 means बच्चों M1 भी आ गया इसमें, as well as time deposits are also there. Both the things are there. M1 is also there, as well as the time deposits are also there. What we are supposed to add is total deposits with RBI. Sorry, total deposits with post office. Total deposits with post office. And in the numerical, if it comes like that, please remember, students do the mistake in this part and this part. They both are very different. If I talk about M2, here we have deposits with the post office saving account. And here we are saying M4 is equal to M3 plus total deposits with the post office. So this is the difference between M1, M2, M3 and M4. M1 only include three components, C plus DD plus OD. M2 includes one more, that is deposits with the post office saving account. When we talk about M3 with M1, it also includes time deposits. And again at the last, when we talk about M4, it has M3 plus deposits, total deposits with the post office. So my dear students, that's all about the supply of money as well as the methods of measuring money supply. In the next class you will be getting who supplies money, and I'll also be distinguish between the bank money as well as the high powered money. One more thing I'll going to differentiate again, one more thing, that is what are the net demand deposits and gross demand deposits, and which we are supposed to include and which we are not in the demand deposits. Okay dear students, thank you, have a nice day.